Welcome all of you in online teaching learning process. We have started paper number 7 in organic chemistry, in which we have started unit number 1st, coordination chemistry. And in this unit we have studied in last lecture about the structural isomerism, and in this lecture we will see valence bond theory (VBT) of transition metal complexes with respect to coordination number 4 of complexes copper and nickel, and CN6 complexes of iron and cobalt. So here we will see valence bond theory. Already we know that VBT discovered by the scientist, Nobel laureate scientist Linus Pauling and J.C. Slater. So in the case of valence bond theory, the valence bond theory was initially proposed by Hitler and London to explain the formation of covalent bond using quantum mechanics. But later on, Linus Pauling improved this theory by introducing the concept of hybridization. So valence bond theory assumes that all bonds are localized bonds formed between two atoms by the donation of an electron from each atom. First we will see what are the postulates of VBT. Already in first year we have studied about the VBT and hybridization concept. So here again we will see postulates of VBT. So according to Linus Pauling, that is central metal atom or ion makes available the number of orbitals equal to its coordination number for bonding with suitable ligand orbitals. That is tetrahedral, square planar or octahedral bonding will be formed. These metal orbitals hybridize to form a set of orbitals having equivalent energy called hybrid orbitals. The type of hybridization decides geometry of the complex, that is square planar, octahedral or tetrahedral. Each ligand must possess at least one orbital containing a lone pair of electrons. So in case of formation of sigma bond, covalent bond which will be formed by axial overlapping, and the strength of bond formed depends upon the extent of overlap. The compound which does not contain any unpaired electron is diamagnetic. If there is a unpaired electron is present, then it is a paramagnetic one. The rearrangement of metal electron takes place to make hybrid orbitals empty to proper hybridization. So to maintain the electronic neutrality, metal electrons from d orbitals, dxy, dyz and dxz orbital are back donated to ligands. Back bonding also possible, and we are getting pi bonding. First we will see complexes of copper. As per the syllabus, first we will study complexes of copper, and the first example is CuCl4 2-, and the nomenclature is tetrachlorocuprate second ion, which is a orange colored. First we know that copper having atomic number 29, and in case of copper, electronic configuration of copper is orgon 3d 9 and 4s2 4p0. So in case of ground state electronic configuration, there are 3d orbitals contain 9 electrons, 4s contain 2 electrons, and 4p is a empty one. But in this complex CuCl4 2-, copper having 2+ oxidation state, that is removal of 2 electron takes place, and we are getting 3d 9, 4s0 and 4p0. And in excited state we are getting 1s and 3p mix and recast with each other, we are getting sp3 hybridization. And when we make bonding with 4 chloroligands, in case of CuCl4 2-, chlorine contribute, each chlorine atom contribute 2 electrons, and we are getting sp3 hybridization like this. So this is a CuCl4 2-, in which sp3 hybridization takes place. All the 8 electrons are accommodated in the sp3 hybrid orbitals, and we are getting tetrahedral geometry like this. So as like this CuCl4 2 minus, CuBr4 2 minus, CuI4 2 minus, CuCN6 4 minus will form tetrahedral complexes, and bond angle is 109.4 degree. Then another example for nickel Cl4 2 minus, that is tetrachloro nickel. In case instead of cuprate it is a nickelate second ion. So nickel having atomic number 28. So here electronic configuration of nickel, argon 3d8 4s2. So here ground state 3d8 4s2 4p0. And in case of complex, nickel having 2 plus oxidation state, so here 2 electrons are given out and we are getting 3d8 4h0 4p0. And in excited state we are getting sp3 hybrid orbitals after mixing and recasting 1s and 3p. And in case of NiCl4 2 minus, each chlorine contribute 2 electrons and we are getting sp3 hybridization, and geometry is tetrahedral one like this. So this is a tetrahedral tetrachloronickelate second ion complex. So overall tetrahedral complexes of copper and nickel, CuBr4 2 minus, metal ion is copper 2 plus, number of 3d electrons 9 1, hybridization is sp3, geometry tetrahedral, number of unpaired electrons 1, so it is a paramagnetic. In CuI4 similarly it is 1 and paramagnetic. But in case of Cu-pyridine 4 plus complex, in case of Cu2 plus, here copper, that is instead of here 2 plus, because pyridine is neutral one, but it contains only plus charge, so here copper plus, and number of 3d electrons 10 1, and here hybridization is sp3 and geometry is tetrahedral but 0 unpaired electrons, so it is a diamagnetic one. Then in case of NiNS3 4 2 plus, that is Ni24, number of 3d electrons 8 and hybridization is sp3 and geometry is tetrahedral one, and number of unpaired electrons here 2, so it is a paramagnetic one. And in case of NiCO4, metal ion nickel, CO is a neutral one, so here number of 3d electrons 10, hybridization is sp3 tetrahedral, so a number of unpaired electrons 0, so it is diamagnetic. And in this complex Cu-pyridine 4 plus, that is copper 2 plus ions, but here the charge of the complex is +1, so here in case of copper plus it shows electronic configuration, that is in case of copper 3d9 4s2, but here in case of plus oxidation state copper shows 3d10 4s1 for stability, and 1 electron is given out as per the electronic configuration. So there are 10 electrons in d orbitals. So here note that tetrahedral complexes are generally high spin complexes. In multiple choice question they will ask tetrahedral complexes are always high spin. And second one, in case of complexes of copper, CuCN4 2 minus, that is tetracyanocuprate second ion. Then copper, already we know that electron configuration argon 3d9 4s2 4p1 4p0, but in copper 2 plus ground state it shows 3d9 4h0 4p0, and in copper 2 plus excited state, here because Cn is a strong field ligand, so 1 electron goes from 3d to 4pz orbital, and we are getting dsp2 hybrid orbitals by mixing and recasting of 1d 1s and 2p. and here in CuCN4 2 minus we are getting dsp2 hybridization and the complex is a square planar 1. Similarly in NiCN4 2 minus, that is tetracyanonnickelate second ion. Nickel, already we know that electron configuration argon 3d8 4s0 4s2 4p0, but in nickel 2 plus electron configuration is 3d8 4s0 4p0, and nickel excited state, here Cn is a strong field, so one electron is separated from this orbital to this, and we are getting dsp2 hybridization. And NiCN4 2 minus, we are getting dsp2 hybridization like this, and this is a square planar complex. So overall, in case of Cu NH3 2 plus, that is metal ion is a Cu2 plus, and number of d electrons is here 3d8, and hybridization is dsp2, complex square planar unpaired electrons 1, so it is a paramagnetic. In case of Cu pyridine 4 2 plus complex, Cu having 2 plus charge, and here number of d electrons is 3d8, dsp2 hybridization square planar complex, and number of unpaired electrons 1, so it is a paramagnetic one. And nickel DMG complex, nickel 2 plus ion, so it is a 3d8, so dsp2 hybridization square planar complex, 0 unpaired electrons, so it is a diamagnetic one. So here note that all square planar complexes are generally low spin complexes, but here, that is in case of tetrahedral and square planar, the same complex arises, that is Cu pyridine, but as per the Egan-Wilkinson series, that is pyridine is a strong field ligand, so pyridine is most appropriate for square planar complexes. Next we will see some of the CN6 complexes. For example, FeF6 3 minus hexafluoroferrate third ion. So in case of iron, electronic configuration is oxidation iron atomic number 26, electronic configuration argon 3d 6 4s2 4p0 and 4d0. But in Fe3 plus case, 3 electrons will be removed and we are getting 3d5 4s0 4p0 and 4d0. And in excited state, here 1s 3p and 2d, because iron Fe6, that is FeF6, fluorine is a weak field ligand, so due to weak field there is no any repulsion between d orbitals and fluoride ions takes place, so they are goes into the outer orbital complex, they will form outer orbital octahedral complexes like this. So these are sp3d2 hybridization, and complex is a octahedral one due to the sp3d2 hybridization. And here 5 unpaired electrons, so it is a strongly paramagnetic complex. And in case of COF6 3 minus hexafluorocobaltate third ion, cobalt, that is atomic number 27, electron configuration argon 3d7 4s2 4p0 4d0. But in cobalt 3 plus case, in this complex, here 3d6 4s0 4p0 4d0, and in excited state, here fluorine weak field, so here sp3d2 hybrid orbital will be formed and we are getting sp3d2 hybridization like this, and we are getting COF6 as a octahedral complex. And in case of inner orbital octahedral complex of iron, FeCN6 3 minus, here in case of Fe3 plus, that is 3 electrons will be removed and we are getting 3d 5 4s0 4p0, but Cn is a strong field ligand, so due to this, shifting of electrons takes place from this orbital to this lobe to this, so here the shifting is possible like this, and Cn contribute total 12 electrons and goes into the due to sp3 hybridization. So these are inner orbital complex due to the strong field ligand. So here inner orbital complexes will be formed and geometry is octahedral one, FeCN6. And similarly in COCN6 3- hexacyanocobaltate third complex. In case of CO3+, electron configuration 3d6 4a0 4p0. In cobalt excited state, one electron shifted from this and this from this, and here we are getting D2sp3 hybridization because CN is a strong field. So these are square planar complex, that is inner orbital octahedral complex, and it is a diamagnetic one because there is no any unpaired electrons. So this is about the outer orbital and inner orbital octahedral complexes of cobalt and iron. So overall, in summary, in case of FeCN6 4-, metal ion is present in Fe2+ form and number of 3d electrons is 6, hybridization is D2sp3 and octahedral one, but it is a due to strong field it is a low spin complex, and if there is a ligand is weak field then it is a high spin complex. So this is about the, that is when D2sp3 it is a inner orbital, when sp3d2 outer orbital. This is the main condition. And what are the limitations of PPT? This theory does not account the splitting of d orbitals, that is it does not disturb the d orbital, does not explain color of the complex, and magnetic property does not explain. Also it cannot explain spectral properties and does not give reactivity of complexes. Also its theory fails to explain excitation of electron from 3d to 4p. Sometimes it is possible in case of square planar complex, and does not explain the bonding in electron deficient compounds. So these are the some drawbacks. So overall, these are the distinguishing features of inner orbital complex is called low spin complex, and outer orbital is called high spin complex. Inner orbital also called spin paired, outer orbital is called spin free. So these are the distinction. These complexes formed by strong ligands. Inner orbital strong and the outer orbital are formed by weak ligand. Inner orbital complexes force metal electrons to pair up in inner orbital. In this complex, ligands are unable to pair up electrons in metal orbital because in an inner orbital they are strong ligands, in outer orbital they are weak ligands. And according to Linus Pauling, this type of complex is called hypoligated complex, and according to this type of complex is called hyperligated complex. So these are the distinguishing features of the inner orbital and outer orbital complexes. So this is about the PPT concept regarding the CN4 and CN6. So thank you all of you for listening this.